Supporters of Nikol Pashinyan heeded his urge for a national day of activity, block roads guideline to Yerevan's major airport, and coercion several passengers to keep their cars and go on to the terminals on leg. Pashinyan, 42, lose a parliament voice on Tuesday to be intermediate main secretary. The voice accompanied the retire recent 1 week of ex-main secretary Serge Sargsyan, who was constrained to move downward among weeks of massive demonstrations, led by Pashinyan's motion. But Pashinyan's bid to be the new main secretary was thwarted by the Republic side, that holds a most in parliament and is union to Sargsyan, and following 9 or several hours of poor-tempered discussion. Following loser the voice, Pashinyan named for protests on environment. The protests emerging to be substantially peace, in regional inhabitant giver out berry and water supply to the rally, on to Gasparian. In another place, rally were depicted dancing in the gateway. I believe the outcry will go on since now, though by the government employees are in the protesters, he told, addition, I believe it will be solved in a 1 week. Pashinyan, a ex-reporter and lead of the opposition civilian agreement side, will person a other circle of parliament votes following 1 week. If it once again fails to select an intermediate main secretary, down there must be new elections. In his trademark dark cap and camo t-shirt, Pashinyan has cut a rebel drawing through the protests. His coarse and ready styling was in absolute difference to the suitable ex-main secretary Sargsyan, and for a televised meet recent monthly, that the main secretary walked out of, Pashinyan though emerging in a bandaged brush that he according to reports injured on prickly cable. How did we get there? Protests began in medium April following Sargsyan was equipped main secretary. Sargsyan had previous serviced as Armenian CEO for 10 years, and the thousands of protesters who hit the gateway of Yerevan saw his newest assignment as an unconstitutional force seize. By constitution changes Sargsyan assigned in 2015, the main secretary became more than strong rather than the CEO, guideline to concerns of authoritative guideline downward on the little ex-Soviets Republic, that national borders Azerbaijan, Turkey, Iran and Georgia. As the protests introduced their 11th date, Sargsyan stepped downward as main secretary. His vice, Karen Karapetin, was later mentioned operating main secretary at an disaster office meet. But on to Lawrence Browers, and connect comrade at the Chatham building believe POTS Russia and Eurasia program, dissatisfaction in Sargsyan had been brewery for year. Armenians include seen their nation, one day the banner kid for democratization following the crash of the Soviets Association, stagnant in the hands of enrooted oligarch time lot countrymen select to keep, Browers told. Browers doesn't attribute single letter of credit to Pashinyan for the newest protests, but told the opposition drawing has been really success in using how wish and how power for changing. Which's Russia got to do in it? Russia is potential to be observer the result of his ex-Soviets Republic close, the country's support shut relations, in Moscow as well an essential supplier of war equipment to Yerevan. Time Russia does not stake a boundary in Armenia, it wields severe provincial impact. While fight ruined out in 2016 among Azerbaijan and the Armenia-backed area of Nagorno-Karabakh, the Ruski by the government rapidly brokered a ceasefire. But the Kremlin is as well suspect of which Ruski officials explain as painted revolutions, more democratic uprisings how include led to the eviction of amiable governments in Ukraine, Georgia and in another place, as opposition demonstrations at household. So distant, Pashinyan has concentrated his critique on national issues, quite rather than relations in Russia. How would act out were he to be selected main secretary, is yet to be seen.